Clearly, this 911 GT3 RS belongs on a track, but you know what? Even though I'm surrounded by a parking lot and normal roads, I can still get a really good taste of what this car is about. And that's what I love about Porsche. They can make crazy track cars like this, but still make it enjoyable for the normal person to drive on regular roads. This car gets a lot of attention from people because of that massive wing. So be prepared to be stared at and get a lot of thumbs up and some appreciating looks. With this 2016 Porsche 911 GT3 RS, you don't even need to drive it to know that it's a track weapon. You can tell just by looking at it. If you're the kind of person that likes to skydive, that likes roller coasters, or that adrenaline kick, this car will do it for you. This gets your heart racing and excited. Step inside and you see a little bit of Porsche 911 along with a whole lot of track wizardry. Because these are racing seats, you kind of fall into them. There's no simple, easy way to slide in. Once you're in the seat, you feel absolutely ready to hit the track. These are sport bucket seats, carbon fiber. There's gonna be zero body movement from side to side. You're very, very stable in this. Completely unnecessary for the streets, purpose-built for the track. There's not much you can do with these seats other than pull them forwards or push it backwards and then lift it up or down. If you want this car to feel like an SUV, you can put yourself up as high as possible, or the best thing to do to make it feel like a race car is to lower the seat all the way down. With this kind of a seating position and this kind of a car, this almost doesn't feel like a normal car. It just feels like a race car, especially when you see this pit speed button. Obviously, it's meant for the track. You have a fire extinguisher here, but you're gonna have to use that on yourself because you're gonna overheat driving this car with the pure excitement and the adrenaline rush you're gonna get. This car does make you feel like a kid in a candy store. You got this orange GT3 RS, street legal race car. What could be more exciting? Everything about this car is so extreme and hardcore, like this massive wing creating huge amounts of downforce. Look at the size of these wheels, 21 inches, super wide ceramic brakes. This all adds to the equation of what makes this the ultimate track car. This car is engineered so precisely that there's almost no wheel gap. There's all kinds of air vents on this car to make sure there's proper cooling and the proper flow of air. Air vents in the front fender with giant air ducts in the back. I love the look of the dual exhaust in the back, but what I love even more is what this sounds like when you start the thing up. And also a big thanks to Covert Buick GMC for letting me take this thing out for a spin. This car is all about saving weight, so there's carbon fiber everywhere. It's a magnesium roof. The door handles are made of fabric. The seats are carbon fiber. Not everything is bare bones though. This has a basic infotainment center. You have air conditioning in this car. You also have this nice Alcantara in the door panel and the headliner. The AC vents are body colored, which is a nice touch. There's no mistaking this for a race car, but it's got just enough creature comforts to make it livable on the streets. Another indication of its track weaponry skills, massive roll cage back here. 4-liter flat six engine in this GT3 RS. 500 horsepower, 338 pound-feet of torque, really the best in the business. The lightness of everything is pretty apparent. This thing right here, the trunk lid, very easy to close. I recently drove a 2017 911 Turbo, and even though these cars share the same roots, they're both 911s, it's funny how different this car feels. This is really the ultimate in precision with crazy levels of engineering and really pushed to the edge of what's possible. Driving this thing, it's such a visceral experience. Also, there's a lot of movement of parts going on. It's very mechanical. You hear everything and there's no sound deadening because Porsche is trying to save weight and this is a track car. So you don't have a lot of insulation, so you're just very aware of everything that's going on. All of the noises, everything on the road, everything around you. It's quite an experience, I must say. The surprising thing is it's actually pretty easy to drive. Normally, if you're driving a race car, you'd expect it to be tricky. Visibility is fine, just like in a regular 911. So they've retained a lot of the drivability of the 911, just made it hyper track focused. You can adjust the seats, you can adjust the steering wheel, your driving position, so you can get comfortable in this car. And the ride is reasonably comfortable. It's obviously very stiff. With any normal race car or any car that's track focused, it would be a very jarring experience, but not in this one. The handling on this thing is so sharp and so precise. For any turn that you take on normal roads or around curvy streets or bends, you really don't need to slow down or brake at all. Just take the turn at whatever speed and this car can handle it. At higher RPMs, this thing is just ungodly. Wow. This is quite an experience. Doesn't matter that I can't go to the track. I think you just get just a little taste of it driving around on regular roads. 500 horsepower, 9,000 redline. This car is no joke. Add to that the crazy fast lightning PDK that shifts so quickly that you can barely wrap your mind around it. And you have an experience that can't be matched. This GT3 RS is really begging you to push on the revs, because the higher the revs, the faster you go. And the car just starts pulling and pulling and pulling beyond 4,000 RPM. It's just crazy how much faster it gets. You only get a very slight taste of what that 9,000 RPM redline really means on regular roads, because you can't realistically do it that much. This probably wouldn't fit anybody's typical definition of what a daily driver is, but for me, I could totally see myself daily driving this one. I want my daily drivers to be thrilling, to wake me up, to be exciting. One thing's for sure though, it's impossible to drive this car normally. You just can't do it. To truly understand this car, obviously you have to drive it on the track, but even if you don't, just driving it on the streets is such an exciting, adrenaline-filled experience, and it's not like anything else you can drive. It's not a cliche when I say that this car truly is the ultimate 911.